All right, and we're live. Welcome, welcome, welcome for another episode of Market Leader Live. Hey, it's your host with the most, your main man, Darren M. Palmer. Excited to be with you today where I deal with industry experts who are dominating in their field. Today, I have a young lady by the name of Miss Tiffany Williams. Say hello to the people, Miss Tiffany.
Hello, everyone.
Awesome. You see it on the screen with Twice Media Productions. If you don't mind, Tiffany, just share with everyone a little bit about who you are and what you're doing in business.
All right. Well, first, let me say thank you for having me today. I'm excited to be here. I'm flattered to be a market leader. Yeah, thank you. But Twice Media. So I started the business almost 8 years ago, straight out of grad school. And really never had a job before, never took a business class or anything formal, but just, had a vision and decided to run with it. So I've been doing this for really all of my adult life. I enjoy it. I love the art of storytelling. I love making videos, taking photos, and all of that great stuff. So it's been a challenging but great journey. Learned a lot along the way, and I love being here in Houston. I'm originally from Missouri, but have been here just as long as the business has been open, and I love it, everything about it. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, and I thank you. So the show Miss Stay, that's why she get down. That's why she a market leader out of the show Miss Stay, But if you don't mind though, Tiffany, because this is what Market Leader Live is about. You were able to find a niche, and it was something that was needed for so many business owners. And so give us a little bit of an understanding of the evolution of Twice Media Production. Why did you go this route compared to doing something else with your own company?
So Twice Media has gone through a lot over the years. So I initially started out taking whatever kind of job I could get because, I was new at it. I was doing everything myself. I was learning, and I had been freelancing in college as a multimedia journalist. So I was used to working the camera and doing everything myself. But shortly after starting the company, I realized that I wanted to grow the business. And I knew that the only way to do that was to build a team. And so I just kind of progressed from there. I realized early on that I didn't want to do any kind of job. I wanted to focus on corporate because I heard and I had friends in the industry that made a lot of money doing weddings and personal stuff. And I was just like, that's not me. I can't deal with the brides and mamas and all of that stuff. So I like, contracts and expectations laid out up front and all that. So I had to really kind of do some self-assessing and reflection and figure out what I really wanted. And so we decided to focus on corporate, started building my team over the years. And of course, just as the market changes, industry changes, decided to keep up as best we could. And so really since day one, I've been offering my mobile video training classes, and people told me, I was crazy because how are you going to teach somebody something that you want them to buy? But it's interesting because that's actually been one of our greatest assets in the way that we've been able to break into the corporate sector because, we're offering something that not everybody was doing. Like everybody teaches DIY video now, it seems like, but 8 years ago, a lot of people weren't doing it. So that was really my way to kind of put my foot in the door with these corporations who had been working with the same video companies for, decades. So I was able to kind of differentiate myself and say, hey, I can teach you how to do something on your own in the meantime. And you can still pay professionals when you need to, but you can also do some stuff internally, save costs, save time, and all that good stuff. So it actually ended up being really beneficial for us. And then, since COVID hit, we've had to kind of pivot and do more online training. So it's really just been kind of looking at the market, staying ahead of trends, making sure we're there, making sure we're learning, making sure we're agile, and just kind of going with the flow. So that's kind of what we've been doing.
Now, you know what? I told y'all, don't let her fool you with that. I mean, Miss Tiffany know how to get down. She's a serious business owner for real. So let's go back a little bit because, she wasn't talking fast. You might have been listening slow. So we want to try to act like Hans and Hunts and catch up around here. So, so I want you to understand the importance of if you have a lack mindset you wouldn't make the move that Tiffany made? You heard what she said. She was able to stick with her guns, so to speak, as we like to say in Texas. You know, she was able to stick with her guns when it came to, I need to move forward and add value. Two things I want the audience to pay attention to be a market leader. For one, she knew the direction she was going to go. So she had a niche and she went wide. She made a decision. It's nothing against it, nobody out there, but Tiffany knew that for her and her company, she didn't want to deal with Bridezilla, you know what I'm saying, or Groomzilla or whatever, you know, a Guyzilla, whoever, whatever Zilla you want to come up with. She didn't want to deal with that. So she realized, so I want you to understand the importance of being a market leader, of finding a niche. It's a big industry, but you can find a niche within a niche. So she made sure that her primary focus was to serve the needs of corporations. With doing that, she said, how do I get in? Another barrier of entry is that you got people who they don't want to think. They're on automatic. Hey, these are the people we've been dealing with. They won the contract. Some of the people that already had the contracts, they done got lazy on the job. You heard the I word, being innovative, staying ahead of the trend or whatnot. And that's what she was able to do. She was able to exploit where some people were fat catting it or were giving up and wasn't adding value because they thought they would lose something. So by her giving, showing herself as an asset instead of a liability, allow for her to build rapport, allow for her to build a connection. And you know, my favorite saying is the difference between contacts and contracts is the letter R, and that's for relationships. So she was willing to serve people to build a relationship, and the relationship would be a byproduct for us having more business, more revenue coming in, and being able to scale your company. So, you know, Tiffany, I thank you so much for sharing that with our audience, because I see so many people in business, you know, Tiffany, that they're scared to death. Even if you're not in business, even if you're working for an organization, they feel that, well, they're not paying me for that. I'm not going to go do that. I'm not going to go the extra mile. So could you speak to the mindset, Tiffany, of going the extra mile and building relationships? Because I see you do a great job of that.
Yeah, I love what you said there about the only difference between contacts and contracts is the R, and it's relationships, because that is ultimately what it's about. And that's really been the way that we have sustained ourselves all this time, is by building and nourishing those relationships. And up until COVID-19, that was really my primary source of getting in business. So it served us well over the years. And now, obviously, we've had to kind of pivot and focus more online, but I was able to have success online because of the relationships that I built offline all those years prior. So I say, hey, you know, get out of that scarcity mindset, look at ways that you can collaborate with others. There's other people that might be in your industry that already have certain relationships and can help introduce you and get you in a lot easier. So, you know, relationships are key in business, and that's the only way that you are going to grow and sustain and keep being able to offer value, is by really building and nourishing those relationships.
Awesome. And you know what, you know, when I look at that, like you said, you know, you want to make sure that you keep those relationships, but let's look at this a little bit different, Tiff. I want you to put another hat on. It's one thing if it's you working. Let's talk about team building and having a growth culture. It's one thing for you to believe in the vision, but how do you make sure that your team members drink the Kool-Aid as well? So I'm sorry, you know, buy into the company culture or whatnot of growth, because you're not holding a camera for every event. You're not, you know, editing everything right now. So you've been able to move from like a solopreneur, you know, or just a regular entrepreneur to an actual business owner. So let's go a little bit deeper in that. How did you start building a team?
I think the biggest thing about building a team is really being clear on the vision and communicating that vision to them so they know exactly where they're going. That's been the way that I've been able to help my team and encourage my team. So we are able to work toward the same goal. So there's no question, like they're not just going through the motions or, you know, scrambling, trying to figure stuff out. It's like, no, this is the company we are building. And I'm empowering you by helping me build that, you know, and we're all working together, because not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. You know, nowadays it's so sexy to be an entrepreneur and everybody wants to own their own business and everything, but it's a lot. And truth be told, we can't do what we do if we don't have a team to help us build. And so it's really about acknowledging them, showing them respect, not micromanaging them, and trusting them. That's the biggest thing too. And that's what I had to learn in the beginning, because I was going through employees, and I didn't understand why. I was like, why are people so incompetent? Why can't I find somebody that knows, what to do? And I was talking to a friend about it, and he was like, well, maybe it's the leadership. And I was like, excuse you, I'm a great leader. What do you mean? And I had to kind of step back and, look at it more objectively. And so I revisited some of the leadership books that I read over the years. And I realized, you know what, I'm not really being an effective leader, because everybody has a different communication style. And mind you, I was like really young back then, like 24, 25, 26, just kind of figuring out myself. And so how am I going to lead somebody else, especially somebody that's older and has more experience in certain areas than me? But I really had to step back and understand that, if you hire somebody to do a job, you need to trust them to do it, and step back and let them just show you what they are expert in and help you build your company. So I had to kind of let loose of some of the controls and understand that I hired them for a reason. Trust them, let them do them. Let me fill in the gaps where they aren't performing right, communicate with them on what they need to do better, or what, I appreciate about what they've been doing. So it's a lot of pieces that go into it. But I think the biggest thing is just being clear on that vision and trusting them to do what you hired them to do, and really showing appreciation and how much you value them, and really kind of letting them have that input and know that they are a part of something bigger and you're building something together.
Oh man, yeah, I'm telling y'all, I didn't pull out the Cash App or the Zelle or none of that right now, or Stripe. But I'm telling you, we're giving you some great content right now that's going to be able to help you if you follow that. If you understand that she just saved you so much turnover for those who are business owners out there, by understanding the importance of, realize that this is servant leadership. This is us together. You heard what I said, us. We, like Drake say, oh, you speak French now. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's wrong. That's another episode. That's another episode. But at the same time, you want to understand the importance of the we, or us. We're doing this together, and buy-in for whether it's the quality of life, the stress level, knowing that someone, they got upside in the company, that they can do things themselves or whatnot, knowing, like you say, you're not micromanaging. But also, I believe too, just setting the precedent of, it's a standard that you don't even have to be around, because others who are part of it have bought in. So they're not going to allow somebody who just showed up or whatnot, just was hired, to ruin the company culture, because they appreciate it. They've had enough experience in other industries or whatnot that they can see the upside for them and their families too. And so I think the direct, communication, and I also being willing to self-assess is what I'm hearing from Tiffany too. If you're going to look at being a market leader, building a team is one thing, but are you able to take a piece of humble pie? Are you willing to be able to look at yourself, like she said, and just like, wait a minute, let me do a competitive analysis on myself. What am I doing right now? I know it couldn't possibly be anything wrong with Tiffany, but at the same time, I'm talking about Darren right now. I'm just talking about Darren right now. But you do have to look at yourself and know that, I've shared this with team members before. My job is to make sure that I position you and place you in the best position as possible to be successful at your position. Now, if you show me that after I've done all that I can do, as Dunn and McClurkin will say, but and stand, I done did everything I could do and standing in this situation, and you still not ended up, then that's something that I have to look at it another way when it comes to hiring. But most people, if they're competent, if they want to grow, and you did the right procedure as far as hiring them, they will show up or whatnot. And so let's talk about, we got to go there, Tiffany. Let's talk about the C word. You brought it up a few times. I think it's important that we segue into that, because I've been able to be a part of some groups and talks and hear you behind the scenes talk about some of the changes that you had to make, dealing with COVID. So could you share with us, your mindset with what happened with COVID, whether you were prepared? I don't think any of us could be just totally prepared, but what were some of the shifts that you made in your business to allow for you to stay afloat and continue to press forward during this trying time?
Yeah, like you said, nobody was prepared for this. And I think for me, a lot of stuff that I did prior to COVID did help me. I was able to transfer like I said earlier, those relationships. So we had created a few online courses several years ago because I just was kind of watching and seeing where everything was going. And, I don't think video production is going anywhere, but I know that a lot of businesses are going online and taking things virtual. And so I decided, let's create some online curriculum so that we can offer more value to more people in more places. And I don't have to always be facilitating the training in person, because this is a way that I can really kind of duplicate myself and reach more people. And so invested a bunch of money in these online classes and time, and had team members devoted to building them out, and then just kind of let them sit there because I was in my comfort zone. I was doing video production and I didn't really need to do the online classes. It made sense and it sounded good, but I wasn't in dire need at the time. So they kind of just sat there. We didn't put a lot of marketing and resources behind them. And then COVID hit. And it was like, whoa, 75% of my business is literally shut down. What am I going to do? And so, it took me about a week to really kind of figure stuff out and say, okay, what just happened here? And I was feeling really stuck because, how do you respond to a global pandemic, right? So I ended up taking this online workshop, and it kind of put the fire into my butt that said, you need to get on it. You got all this attention online right now. You've got all these resources, all this stuff. And so I was able to really just start my Facebook group. And that kind of took off. I didn't really have any roadmap. And literally one of my employees told me several years ago that I needed to start a Facebook page. And it was a part of our marketing strategy, but I just never got around to it. And then I ultimately did it without overthinking it or putting too much into it. And that started to take off. And then I was able to start building more classes. And, so it's just been a kind of a process figuring things out, but I don't feel bad or beat myself up because even the big brands are figuring it out. Like, we're all in this together. We're all trying to pivot. So, I think entrepreneurs, sometimes we take on a lot and we beat ourselves up a lot, but it's a global pandemic. There's nothing you could have done. Now having those relationships, yes, that was helpful. Not, spending my money frivolously and making sure we had some reserves, because that was something I had to learn from Harvey. So it's like you take these punches, if you will, and all you can do is learn from them and keep going and keep building and keep getting stronger. So it's been a process. But hey, we're figuring it out one day at a time.
Awesome. And, and I've been able to watch you make that pivot or whatnot. Because, for those who are listening out there, business owners, she didn't say 5% or 75% of what she was doing or whatnot for as her business, far as, the revenue being generated was, somewhat coming to a halt where she wasn't able to get to it. And so I think all of us, I think that we need to push ourselves similar to what, like the documentary at the time of this recording, we're recording it during the COVID-19 situation for those who might hear this at another time, but also the documentary of Michael Jordan, when you see with that last dance or whatnot, last stand, whatever it is. But I'm just thinking about the documentary when it comes to Michael Jordan, of the importance. And I think Tiffany is sharing this too, that we learn from a situation, and we got to make sure that we put ourselves in rooms and put ourselves in environments where it keeps that fire up under us. Because I can know all day what I need to do, but going to work out might not be one of those things. I think a lot of people know working out would help them out, but that doesn't mean that you're going to work out. I think, a lot of us might know eating less might help out, but that doesn't mean that you're going to do it. And the same way when it comes to business owners as well, we know there are other areas that we need to explore or work on or put more ads into. But sometimes, like you said, when we get comfortable and this is already working, my schedule is already tight. I really want to put some extra energy that I could get a little breather. You start justifying stuff to yourself. So I like what Tiffany shared. She said that she didn't have all the answers, but even learning and being a ravenous learner, being hungry to learn, and was at another type of course, another type of event. And that gave her the insight, the aha, the epiphany to say, okay, you know what? let me put my gloves on. You know what I'm saying? I got my Rocky Balboa look on. You know, the music done start hitting and whatnot. She done got up off the canvas, you know what I'm saying? You hearing the music, you getting your Rocky on. You know, everybody feel the momentum now. I see it right now. Y'all didn't know I could see you right now. I can't show you all my secrets, but that's the mentality. And so I think even with the Facebook group, Tiffany, that I think I want to point this out for the market leaders out there. Tiffany being transparent and being genuine allows for others to be able to say, you know what, I'm a part of this journey with her. So you heard how she shared that with her team, but also with the consumer, also with her base, being honest with them, like, hey, and she was just being real, like, man, we've been hit. You know, I didn't know if I even wanted to go forward or move forward. Now, most people come out, oh, I had it all figured out. I knew everything. I knew all of it. That's not what people are rooting for. So when you give them a story of resilience of, hey, we're working this out together. We're going to figure it out together. Let's do this together. It allows for more people to be able to assist you. Let's talk about the transparency piece. You know, Tiffany, what allows for you to be so transparent on things that you really don't have to share if you don't want to, but you choose to share? Why do you do that with your consumers and with your team?
It's been a process. It wasn't always that way. I'm a very private person. I'm a big introvert. And so I've really had to open myself up and kind of become extroverted to really connect with people and build those relationships that we keep talking about. So it's really been a process, but I think people appreciate authenticity, and people do business with those they know, like, and trust. That's one of the big things in marketing. You really reach people by showing them, because even if you sell B2B, business, you're ultimately still selling to a person. You're still selling to, that gatekeeper or that business owner or whoever your end user is. That's who you're selling to. And so, you've got to be able to show them who you are. And, I think a lot of us struggle with that, especially as entrepreneurs and perfectionists. Like, we want everything to look so perfect and figured out. But people don't want somebody that's all figured out. People like that authenticity and that genuineness. So yeah, it's not something that's necessarily easy, but I think it's also effective. Like, because people see that, they want to support you because now they feel invested and they know more about you, and now they want to see you win. And so now they're rooting with you. And I think it's the same thing with the team. Now, obviously, you can't share everything with the team. You can't share everything with the consumer either. You've got to draw the line somewhere, but I think give them a glimpse inside of kind of what your thoughts are and your motivations and your intentions and stuff. And that'll ultimately shine through if you have good intentions. So I think people they genuinely want to root for other people as long as they know who they're rooting for.
Do they know who they're rooting for? Or you just allowing yourself to be this facade or this oasis in the desert? There's like a myth, like the Loch Ness monster or whatnot. Or are they able to identify with you? Like, hey, this is a person who I can trust and confide in. And I'm just going to be honest, Tiffany, like, if you wouldn't have did the Facebook group, I was able to have a team member participate in one of the events that you had. We were just talking off air for some things that we're going to look at for as you doing some promo stuff or whatnot, even for this show. So I'm just looking at just that alone, and not to mention other people that we can refer. If you're not in front of people, and I'm just one person, but if you're not in front of anybody, if you got your head buried in the sand, if you don't have the Facebook group, that's not happening. Like, this interview, it's top of mind awareness or whatnot. So if they don't know you, they can't follow you. And so I want the audience or whatnot. You might, love the Lord. You might be a great person. You might be very educated or very skilled at what you do. But if you are not using this information that Tiffany is sharing with having vision, being genuine, making sure that you're working on your skill set, you keep hearing no matter what level she's gotten to, she continues to invest in herself to continue to grow and to get the right environment and also to get the right skill set to honor her crowd. But if you're not doing these things, you're not being in the right rooms. And so before we get out of here, Tiffany, I want you just to share with the people the importance of continued growth and partnerships or whatnot, whether it's learning from somebody else's course, going to a conference, reading, just share with us the importance of learning from others and investing in yourself.
Absolutely. So think most successful or all successful entrepreneurs are lifelong learners. We genuinely enjoy learning. And, it doesn't mean you were the best at school or you like school. It just means you liked learning and liked obtaining knowledge and always wanting to challenge yourself and be the best version of yourself. And so I'm a big advocate for continuing education. And that could be in all areas, because you might be a top expert at something, but you don't know everything. And I think, mentors can come in all forms. You can have a mentor that's younger than you. You can have mentors in different areas of your life. Like I have mentors in various aspects. I have business mentors, I have, spiritual mentors. I have different people that I go to for different things. And I'm that for different people as well. So I think, having a business coach is key. I think having a mentor or a group of mentors is key. Having peers that you can bounce ideas off of, doing masterminds, reading books, and asking people that have been there before you what books they're reading. That was one of my biggest questions when I first started my business. Everybody that I met, I was like, what books are you reading? Because I just wanted to soak up all the knowledge, because I'm like, you've been so successful at business. I'm just starting out. I have literally no idea what I'm doing, but there's other people that have done it and executed beautifully. So why not learn from them and not recreate the wheel or run into a bunch of mistakes that I could have avoided, So I'm a big advocate for, not making the same mistakes twice, So I say go for it. Always be learning, always be soaking up information, and never think that you're better than somebody and you can't learn something from them, because everybody can teach you something.
Now, come on now, Tiff. I'm gonna have to cut off, y'all. I can't give y'all too much. She's giving y'all too much of the game for free right now. You know what I'm saying? So I
actually have a friend that says copy genius. Like, there's so many, Jonathan. That's how I think
that's it.
Yeah, he talks about it all the time. Copy genius. Don't recreate, I'm paraphrasing, but don't recreate mediocrity. Like, copy genius. There's people out there, there's experts out there that have done what you're trying to do. So go soak up that knowledge and get that free game. And if there's a fee, there's a reason for it. Pay that fee. Invest in yourself.
Pay that fee. I just shared this, Tiffany. It was a course I just got that I had somebody tell me, like, man, you put so many $1,000s on it. It was one printout that they had, just not to mention everything else that was of value. One printout was worth everything that I invested. It saved me years of what it would have took me to try to figure that out. Straight blueprint. Here it is. All I got to do is plug and play, get who I need to get the numbers from, how I need to line up, how I need to do it. I'm ready to go. Now, look at what that saved me, a few $1,000s compared to that many years, and how I would have messed up in transactions or not knew the right people to have around me, all with that right information. So definitely, Tiffany, share with the audience or whatnot, how can they connect with you, whether it's social media handles, your website, or even a Facebook group, whatever you have for the people, please share it.
All right. Well, the easiest thing to do is go to twicemediaproductions.com, and that has links to all of our social media channels. And if you are interested in the Facebook group, it's called the DIY. Well, you can go to it by going to facebook.com/groups/DIY video toolkit. And I can drop that in the comments. But yeah, you can connect with me anyway from my website or join my group, where I give different tips on video marketing and tech each week.
Awesome. Well, we thank you, Tiffany, so much for coming on. You're definitely a market leader. I know I learned quite a bit from you or whatnot, just seeing how you maneuver. I love the way that you do things, and how, it's just, it's inspiring to see somebody just, like I said, just genuine, just good people, just looking to serve. And I think that, you being a poster child, that type of entrepreneur was so, just like with sales, most people got a distaste for sales because they think of a memory of a used car salesman who beat somebody and gave him a lemon. And I think that you're giving a fresh perspective when it comes to what it is to be a business owner, by how you conduct yourself, by how you continue to serve people and whatnot. So I just want to say kudos for you, and thank you for leading the way, Garrett.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed this today. So yeah, thank you a lot. I really, really am grateful.
Anytime, anytime. Until next time, y'all remember, if you won't change, be the change. Be blessed and be great.